We begin today the Gemara on Daf Tezayin Amud Beis, 12 lines up from the bottom of the Amud, where it says Omer Abavo, Omer Rabbi Yechanan. So the Gemara here is going to continue the halachas that we learned before here in this Amud. Benegeta, a person that lost a star, and the star is found. Do you give it back to the malvet, to the owner of the star? Before the Gemara brought the opinion of Shmuel, Shmuel says you find a star hakna in the street, you can give it back to the owner. There's no concern that it was paid up already. And that's even if the Levi there is saying that it was, there's no concern about such a thing. Here the Gemara brings another opinion. Omer Abavo, Omer Rabbi Yechanan, Hamaitze, Star Chayv B'Shuk. Person finds a star in the street, Ava B'Shakasav by handpick. Even if this is a star that has a handpick in it, the handpick is that the Bezdin verified that this is a kosher star, that the signatures are good, the money was borrowed. Lo yachzir lebailim. You shouldn't give it back to the owner of the star, to the malva. And the Gemara clarifies, needless to say, in a case where this is a star where it doesn't have the certification of the Bezdin, because so then there's for sure you can't give it back. Because then you could simply say, Kasav Lilvais, the star was written with the intention that it would be used for a loan, but V'loi Lava, they never borrowed money. Even if the star is written and it has a certification of the Bezdin, what's the word hempik mean? The Mekuyim, that it's certified by the Bezdin. Lo yachser. You shouldn't return the star to the malve, the chayshinon lepiroin, because we're concerned that the star was paid already. And Taisus here explains that according to Rabbi Yechanan, this is when the loiva is standing there and he's saying that I already paid this star, don't give it back. In such a case, you don't give back the star. This is based on what we learned before. The Gemara says when you lose a star, there's reason to say that there's something not right with the star, so therefore we believe the loiva that he paid it up already. So Rabbi Yirmiyah asks Rabavo from a Mishnah later here in this Pedic. The Gemara brought it before over here on this Amud. The Mishnah later says, Call Maisa Bezdin. Anytime you have a star that's a Maisa Bezdin, and the Gemara now simply understands what that would mean is a star that has a certification of the Bezdin, Hareze Yachser. So you do give it back to the owner. So see over here that we're not concerned that it was paid up. Amalei, so Rabbi Avo answered Rabbi Yirmiyah on the Shaila, Yirmiyah Beri, Yirmiyah my son. It wasn't really his son, but he was just referring to him this way. Loi kol Maisa Bezdin Shavim. Not every case where it says that you should not return a Maisa Bezdin, or you should return a Maisa Bezdin, is the same. Again, what did it say over there in the Mishnah? The Mishnah said that Maisa Bezdin you could return. So not always, that Mishnah that says that you find a star that has a certification of the Bezdin, that you could return it, that Mishnah wasn't saying a blanket rule. Ella, rather, what was that Mishnah talking about? Kagoin shehuchsak kafron. It's a case where this loiva that's standing and screaming and saying that I already paid up this loan, this loiva was already verified to be a person that lied about such a kind of thing. In a different case, he claimed that he paid up something, and it turned out we caught him red-handed with his lie. So now if he's going to stand here regarding this star and say that I paid it up, we're not going to trust him. And therefore, in such a case, the Mishnah was saying that you give it back. But Rava asks on this answer, if this person was caught with a lie regarding some loan another time, so now our assumption is that he will never pay up again any loan. So now if he claims regarding this star here that I paid it up, we should assume that he didn't pay it. Why? Because he was huchsak kafrin once, would we not believe him that maybe in this case he did pay up? Again, the other point over here is we're talking about a star that got lost, and therefore there's reason to believe that something's not right with this star. So therefore Rava says, no, the pshat in that Mishnah that says that you return the star that was lost and it's a Maisa Bezdin, you return it to the owner, is not talking about a regular star chayv that could be used to collect money that was already paid. What is it talking about? And this is a point that Gemara said earlier here on this Amud, Masnisim b'shtar chaltosa v'adrachta. We're talking about a star that's used in order for a malvet to be able to confirm that what he collected from the loive is actually his. The Bezdin gives him a star that says it's muchlat, that yes, this is his, and a star adrachte, which gives him the ability to go and collect from the loive. These kinds of staris cannot be used again to be able to collect with it a second time, which the Gemara already explained before why that is, why we're not chayshish, that regarding these kind of staris. The Gemara explained before that such a kind of star, there's no reason why it wouldn't be torn up if you already collected with it once. So these kinds of staris are cases where the Mishnah said that once it's lost, you can give it back. There's no concerned that it would be used a second time. We could do Rabzeida. This was already explained before over here in the Amid according to Rabzeida. But otherwise, regarding a regular Shtar Chayiv, so that Rabbi Yechanan said that if you find a Shtar Chayiv in the street, do not give it back. If the Lev is saying that he paid up already, because there's a concern that it was actually paid up. Yeah, that's a kind of shtar that we're not concerned that you would collect with it a second time, so you give it back. That's the Mishnah there. Now the Gemara goes off on a side topic because of something that we brought up over here. The kafra. This case of a person that's a kafra. We caught him once with a lie regarding something that he said he paid and he didn't. Since it was mentioned before, name a bamilsa. Let's say a halacha about this case of kafra. Here we're going to have a whole Amud of Gemara that's going to discuss this. The Amar Rav Yosef bar Minyomi, Amar Rav Nachman, Rav Yosef bar Minyomi said in the name of Rav Nachman, Amru Loi, what happens if they said to a person in a psak din of a bezdin, there was a court case, and the bezdin paskin say v'ten loi, that you're chayiv to pay, and not only did the bezdin paskin that he's chayiv to pay, but the bezdin actually then said, say, go out and pay. And what happened is, v'ama paraiti, and then after a while, he says, yeah, I already fulfilled what bezdin told me, I already paid. So Neman, he's believed to say that he paid, because after there's a psak din, so we assume that it's true that he actually paid, then he followed through. Rashi says though he has to make a shvuas heses when he comes and says if the malva will still say oh, you never paid me yet, and he says no I did pay, he'll be believed but with a shvuas heses. If the malva wants to come to Bezdin and get from the Bezdin a shtar adrachte, which is a shtar to give him the ability to go and collect from the loive. So, we're not going to write for him a shtar to be able to collect from the loiva because there's an assumption that he paid already. We'll believe him. Now, there's another case here though. If there was a court case and the Bezdin resolved the court case, who's right and who's wrong, and the Bezdin says, you're chayiv, so you're chayiv to pay. But the Bezdin didn't yet get to the point where they said, say tenloi. The Bezdin didn't actually get to the point where they said, okay, now it's time to go out and actually pay. They just passed in the din of chayiv. Now, this person comes and says, I already paid, ein enema. He's not going to be believed. Because in such a case, he's not even believed, and not even believed to swear to say that he paid, because it's possible he didn't pay yet. Because the Bezdin just said chayiv, but they didn't actually yet force him to go ahead and pay. So the other one that's demanding the money from him, Rashi says, he could swear and come and collect the money from you. Yes, that's the nature of a person. He's not going to pay right away until the Bezdin actually gives out the actual psak that says, say tendai. And therefore, in such a case, if the malva wants to get a shtar from the Bezdin to be able to collect the properties from the loive, we'll write for him a shtar adrachte to be able to collect the properties from the loive. Rav Zvid says in the name of Rav Nachman, he says no, there's no difference in these two stages of the psak of the Bezdin. Whether the Bezdin already said go out and pay, or whether the Bezdin just passed in the din itself and said chayiv, that you chayiv to pay, v'ama paraiti, and the loiva says I already paid, neman. Either way is believed. And therefore, if the malva wants Bezdin to give him a shtar adrachte to be able to collect from the loiva, we're not going to give it to him. We assume that he already paid. Rather, where is there a distinction? If you want to make a distinction about this matter, the distinction would be in the following case. And here we come to the case of Hochsa Kafran. Amruloit say tenloi. You tell a person, go out and pay. Va'ama paraiti. And he claims that he paid already. But va'edim me'idim aisai shaloi parai. But then the edim come and say that you didn't pay. What's the pshat in this? How do the edim know that he didn't pay? So Rashi's pshat for this is that the edim come and say, we were there when you were having a conversation with the malva, and you told the malva, I'm not paying you. Yeah, the Bezdin paskin that I should go out and pay you, I'm not planning on paying you. The edim heard this person saying this. That's Rashi's pshat. The Rosh says that the pshat over here is that this person came and said, I paid you on this and this date, and this day, and this time, and the edim come and say, what do you mean? At that time you didn't pay him, you were with us somewhere else. So we caught him with a lie, according to the Rosh, mamish a lie, or according to Rashi, at least he said clearly he's not planning on paying. And then later on, after that, later on he comes and says, after that I did pay. Hochsa kafrin la'osim mamin. So this person is a hochsa kafrin. The Bezdin already told him to pay. He has to go ahead and pay. And he said he's not going to pay, even if he later on says he did pay. We don't believe him anymore. However, if the Bezdin tells the person, Chayev atalitin loy, the Bezdin passed in the din itself, who's Chayev and who's Potter, but the Bezdin didn't yet go to the next stage to say, it's time to fulfill the psak. Bezdin just said, Chayev atalitin loy. And then, Va'ama paraiti, this person claims that he already paid, and Va'edem me'idem ma'isa shaloi para. And the Eidim testify about this person that he didn't pay yet. According to Rashi's Pshat, again, that means that the person said, I'm not planning on paying you. And then later on, then later on, the person comes back and says again that I did pay you. In such a case, he was caught with a lie that he didn't pay. But now he was caught with a lie that he didn't pay. So now he has to pay. And then afterwards he comes back and says, but not, true, before I said I paid, I thought I didn't pay. But now he says, but I did pay you. It's a week later and he says, now I did pay. In such a case, over here, even though he lied once about this before, but over here, he's not uchsakafrin, and we would trust him with a shvuah afterwards not to come and say that he paid. Why is this? We already caught him with a lie before. So what explains my time? Because this person, when he said the first time, I'm not planning on paying you, it's not because he was trying to not listen to the Bezdin. He was avoiding to pay because Savar, he thought to himself, that maybe even though the Bezdin already paskin that I'm chayiv, but Bezdin didn't yet say, go out and pay. So sometimes after the Bezdin paskin's chayiv, they may reverse the psak din, and therefore he was thinking he avoided the payment in order to wait and see if Bezdin is going to tell him say tenla or not. So therefore the fact that he avoided paying before is not a raya that he was trying to lie about this. Person tells his friend, you owe me a money. And the person denies it. He says, I don't owe you a penny. And then the Eidim come and prove that he's a liar. And Eidim come and say, no, you have this person's money in your hands. And then after he's caught with this lie, then he comes and says, you're right, I have it, but now, it's a week later, I already paid it to you. So then he's already, there's a chazaka that he's a liar regarding this money. He's not going to be believed to say that he paid. And this is a story that happened. The Shapsoi bereded Rab Merinus, fellow by the name of Shapsoi, the son of Rab Merinus, Kosovla le Kalase. So he wrote for his daughter-in-law in the Ksube, Itztele the Milsa. He wrote Biksubasa. He wrote for her that he's going to give her a nice cloak that's made from fine wool in the Ksube, that if she gets divorced or if she becomes a widow, she's going to get this nice cloak. And the Kibla allow, and she accepted this, she got this ksube. And then what happened? Irchas ksubasa. She lost her ksube. So now this special thing that her father-in-law said that he would give to her, it was written in the ksube, but now it was lost. And Omar Lahu, and now this father-in-law came and said, this never happened. I never promised her this nice fine wool cloak that I would give her. Also Sadi Vamri. So then Adam came along and said, in Kosovla, yeah, he did write this. We saw the ksubah. We saw that he wrote in the ksubah that he's going to give this to his daughter-in-law. Then a week later, he comes back, the father-in-law, and he says, Paraite, I already gave her this nice wool garment. So in such a case, they asked Rabchia whether they could trust him that he paid it already. For this itztala, you denied the whole thing in the first place, and we caught you with the lie. Now you can't come and claim that you paid it.
And two different things.
Could be. And chanami means never happened. I never. Yeah, true. Yeah, okay.
And the other means I paid. Could mean
I paid it. True. So a similar kind of halacha in a case where you are obligated to swear for your friend in a dintayra. There were arguments, and then the halacha was that you were chayiv to make a shvuah for him. And then this person comes back a week later and he says, yeah, we were in Bezdin. I already swore to you that I'm potter. However, Adam come and testify that this person is lying. That time that he said that he swore, he did not swear. And then after that, then he comes back later again and he says a week later, but now I did swear for you. So because he said before that he swore, and that was a lie, he comes back a week later to say again that he swore, he's hochsa kafron, we don't believe him. They said this halacha that Rab Avin said in front of Rab Avo, so he said, Mistavra milsa de Rab Avin, It's logical that the halacha of Rab Oven is true in the case of Shenischayev Shua bebezdin, when he was actually in a bezdin, and the reason he had to swear for his friend in a din Torah was the bezdin is the one that obligated him to swear. So then if he claims that he swore and we find that he didn't, that's Hochsa Kafran. But if it's in a case where a person had an argument with his friend, and it's not the bezdin that obligated him to swear, but he himself voluntarily said, I'll swear for you that I don't owe you this money. So then, in such a case, Ovid Nemon, he'll be believed later on when he says that he swore, even though before we caught him with a lie when he said that he swore, and he didn't, still he's going to be believed later. Because Ovid Inish de Makriva Omar, because there is a case where a person would say that he already swore even though he didn't, because this is not something which the Bezdin obligated him to do. It's something that he himself voluntarily said he was going to do. So it could be that he's regretting it, or he just wants to push it off. Before he wanted to show the person that I'm so confident about this, I'm ready to swear for you. But then afterwards he was pushing it off. He's not trying to lie about this. So Hadrua Kamed Rab Oven, they brought back this distinction that Rab Avo said to Rab Oven. And Amalu, and he said, yeah, Anonami bebezdin nami. True. The halacha that I said that once a person is caught with a lie regarding this is only if the bezdin obligated him to swear, not if he himself voluntarily was going to swear about this. Itmanami we learned as well. Omer Abavan, Omer Abilo, Omer Ab Yechanan. So he lechatchila taught it this way. So he taught clearly that it's only in a case where a person was obligated by the bezdin to swear, and then the person said he swore, and the person lies. The Eidim say that he did not swear, and then and later on he wants to come back again and claim that he did swear. He's already hochsak that he lies, and we don't believe him. Amar Abasi, Amar Ab Yechanan, Amoitze Shtar Chayiv B'Shok, V'Kosav Boy Handpick. If you find the Shtar Chayiv, and the Shtar has in it a certification of the Bezdin, so we know that the money was borrowed and it's a proper Shtar. And V'Kosav Boy Zmanoi, Boy Bayoim. And there's a date in the Shtar as well, and the date of the loan of the Shtar is from today. He borrowed the money today. Yachzir L'Bailam. You can give it back to the Malveh. There's no concern over here that it was paid up. So Rabbi Yechon himself before said, when you find the shtar chayiv, you don't give it back to the malveh. We're concerned that it got paid up already. But over here, though, if the date of the loan is today, we're not concerned that it was paid back, and you give it back to him. And he explains, imishum kasav lilva is v'loy lava, because if you would be concerned that maybe it says in the shtar that the money was borrowed, but maybe the money wasn't ever actually borrowed, that's no concern, because hakasav handpick. We're talking about a shtar that was already certified. So the Bezdin doesn't certify if they don't know that the money was actually borrowed. If you're concerned that the money was paid up, we're not concerned that the money is paid up on the actual day that you borrowed the money. So over here, we're not concerned that it was paid up. And therefore, you give it back. So the Gemara asks on this now. This idea that on the day itself, we're not concerned that the money was paid up already, the Gemara here is going to bring from another case that Rabbi Yechon said halacha, that it seems like that it is possible that we are concerned that the money is paid up on the same day. Amalei that Rabbi Zera asks Rabasi about this. Did Rabbi Yechon say that on the same day the loan is not paid up? Ha'atu the Amrit Mishmei the Rabbi Yechonin. So you Rabasi once taught us in the name of Rabbi Yechonin as follows: Shtar shalovabay. If there was a shtar that you used for a loan, uparay, and that loan that was in the shtar was already paid up. You can't go ahead and use the very same shtar for a second loan that you want to borrow. If you want to borrow money again, the same amount of money, and instead of writing a new shtar, you want to use the very same shtar of the previous loan. You can't do that. Why? Shekvar nimchal shibudai. That shtar of the first loan was paid up already. The shibud, the maila, the whole idea of a shtar is that you get a shibud on the karkois that you can collect from the properties even after they're sold off. That shibud is off already. So when you borrow money a second time and you're not writing up a new shtar, you want to use the previous shtar that the chayv is the shibud is off. So then you can't use that shtar. For the next chayv, it's going to be a milva al peh if you're not writing up a new shtar. You can't use the shtar from a previous loan. That was the halacha that you taught in the name of Rabbi Yechanan. So now the question is, when did Rabbi Yechanan have to say such a kind of halacha? How could you use the same shtar for one loan for another loan? It could be the same amount of money, but if it's a different date, you can't use the shtar that has a previous date on it. So Amos, what are we talking about over here? If you wanted to now use this shtar from a previous loan for another loan that you're borrowing money tomorrow, or another day, on a later date, My area, why does Rabbi Yochanan here have to say that the issue is shekvar nimchal shibudai, that you can't use that document because the shibud was already forgiven because that was paid up already? Why is he giving that reason? Typically, there's another simple reason why you can't use it. Because now you're using a star where the loan happened on one date, and you're using a star from an earlier date. You're never allowed to use a star that has an earlier date on it. And we learned in the Mishnah, any star chayiv that has the earlier date when the loan actually was, psulim. It's all possible because that would give you then the right to collect from the properties, even from a date before your loan, that was sold off even from before your loan. So you can't use such a kind of star. So elalav. So don't you think we must say, what was Rabbi Yochanan talking about when he said don't use a star from a previous loan for a new loan now? B'yoyimei. It's talking about on the same day. The person borrowed $100, and on that day he paid it back. And then later on in the afternoon, he decides, I realize I need the $100 again, and he wants to borrow the money again, and he wants to use the same star. It's there that Rabbi Yochanan said that you shouldn't use the same star. So the Gemara now says, Alma, what do we see from here? Pare in shebiyayme. A person does pay back the loan on the same day. So how are you saying that Rabbi Yochanan said that if you lose a star and you find it with a date of that day, we're not concerned that it was paid up? So the Gemara answers, Amalei. So Rav Asi said, Mika mina deloy pari klal. Did I ever say that this is something that it never happens, that a person pays a loan on the same day? And what I said is, of course it could happen that the loan was paid up on the same day. All I was saying was it's not common. So therefore, if you see a lost star with a date on this day, so we're not concerned that it was paid up, because it's not common that it should be paid up on that day. But of course, in a case where it happened that you paid it up on the same day, so then Rabbi Yochanan said the halacha, don't use that same star again for a second loan. Rav Kahana said that the pshat is different here. Kishachayev Maide. When it said before that Rabbi Yochanan said that you have a star that was found with the date of this day, that you can give it back to the malveh, over there, what Rabbi Yochanan was speaking about was that when the loiva himself is admitting, the loiva himself is saying, yeah, it's true, I didn't pay up yet. And that's what Rabbi Yochanan says, give back the star. Says the Gemara, if that's what Rabbi Yochanan was talking about, ihachi maila memra. What's the chiddush that you give back the star to the malveh if the loiva himself is admitting that he didn't pay up yet? So the Gemara explains, the chiddush is as follows. I would think to say that even if the loiva is admitting that he didn't pay up yet, maybe I should say, based on what we just learned before, that a person might want to use the same star a second time. Maybe maybe he actually did pay up the loan of this star. The fact that the loiva is standing here and saying, I didn't pay up yet, you can give the star back to the malveh. Maybe the reason is because he decided, you know what, let me use this star a second time today. It still has the same date from today, so it's still useful. Let me use the star with the same date from today and borrow money a second time. And what does he gain by this? She doesn't want to have to pay a scribe to write a second star. He's going to have to give some coins. He's going to have to give the payment to write up a second star. So maybe that's why he's saying, give back the star in order for me to be able to use the star a second time for a new loan. And that's a problem though. You can't, as we just said, you can't use the second star. You can't use the star for a second loan because the star there's no shibud on it. You already paid it up from the previous loan. That's what we would think, and therefore, even if the loiva is maida, you can't give it back to the malveh. Kamash Malon, that's what Rabbi Yochanan says. No, we're not concerned for this. When the loiva is maida, you can give it back to the malveh. Why? The imkain, if this is what happened here, that this star was paid up already for a loan on this day, malva gufa le'shavik. The malva himself is not going to play along with the loiva. The malva is going to tell the loiva, no, I'm not ready here to lend you money again today with the very same star that we used on the previous loan, because he's afraid. It's a risk. Because Savar, he thinks to himself, Shami Be'Rabbana, what's if the Chachamim, the Bezdin, is going to find out what happened there? That we used the same star from a previous loan, or mafsidili, and then I'm going to lose. My star is going to be a apostle star. So he's not going to play along with the Levi to want to use the same document from a previous loan. So therefore, we're not concerned of this happening. So if you find a star from the Levi, you find the star that is, and the Levi himself admits that he didn't pay, you can give it back to the Malva. Okay, so this is this halacha that Rabbi Yochanan said regarding a star that had the date of today, of the same day. We're not concerned that the Levi might want to reuse the star, and you can give it back. But now the Gemara...
That's with the shibud.
We're not concerned that it's a star from another loan. We're not concerned about that. We know it's the same loan that wasn't paid up yet. So the Gemara says, why would this case be different than the Mishnah? The Mishnah that we learned, which started this entire discussion, the Mishnah Daf Yud Beis, which discusses this. What does the Mishnah there say? You find documents of a loan. So there the Mishnah said, if the shtar has written in it that you could collect from properties, so then you can't give it back to the malva. Why not? What's the concern there? So there, one of the pshatim we explained in the Mishnah is, we explained, that's even in a case where the loiva admits that he didn't pay up, but you still can't give back the shtar to the malva. Why not? And the concern there was the mishum shema kasav lilvais benissen, because possibly the shtar was written and the date is that the loan happened in Nissen, but v'leilava Tishrei. He didn't actually end up borrowing the money until 6 months later in Tishrei. And then if you give back now the shtar to the malve, v'asi lemitra v'lekuchais minissen v'Tishrei, you're going to end up giving him the ability to collect from buyers of the property of this loive, even from Nissen time, before he even borrowed the money. Shaloi kedin. And over there, we see that we're concerned about this. And the reason we're concerned about this is, again, the point is, usually we're not concerned that the date in the shtar is off. The Gemara there explained, because the shtar fell, so the Zereyah says, so we're concerned about this. And the Gemara's question is, over there, we don't say, the svara that we just said over here, the imkeim malva gufa leishavik, that the malva himself would not allow to use such a kind of shtar that has the wrong date on it. The amalei that the malva, according to the svara that the Gemara said before, the malva himself wants to make sure that he actually has a proper shtar. He doesn't want to have a shtar with the wrong date. It's a big risk. If it turns out the Chacham will find out that it's a puzzle shtar, then he won't be able to use the shtar at all. And the malva himself would say, write me another shtar. Since you're only borrowing the money now in Tishrei, write me a new shtar in Tishrei. Because maybe if I'm going to use the shtar with a date from Nisan, then I'm going to lose the ability to collect with the shtar altogether. That's the svara that the Gemara just said before regarding a shtar that you find and it has the date from today. So we said we're not concerned that maybe this is being used for a second loan today because the Malva doesn't want to play along with this. So over here as well, why do we say in the Mishnah that maybe it has the wrong date from 6 months before? But why would the Malva accept such a kind of shtar? Shouldn't we be sure that the Malva would not play along with this? So the Gemara answers, no, it's not the same kind of thing. Over there, in that case where it has a date from 6 months before, over there, the Malva may actually play along with the Loive, even though he's taking a risk. It might be a Pasal Ishtar, but he might be ready to take that risk. Why? So Amri, they said, the answer is, Hasam Mishum Deisle Rafcha. Over there, the Malva might be ready to take this risk because he has what to gain. The Katarev Lekucha is Minisan Vatishrei, because by accepting this shtar, which has an earlier date, it's giving him the ability now to collect from the properties of the Loive, even from those properties that were sold already between Nisan and Tishrei. So Menich Nichalei, so therefore he is okay with this. He's not going to say anything. He may play along with the Loive and accept such a kind of shtar. And therefore we're concerned about this, and therefore we don't return this shtar to the Malva. But Hacha over here, what did Rabbi Yechanan talk about? Rabbi Yechanan was talking about a shtar that you want to reuse that's on the same day, with the same date. Even the less late Avche, since for the Malva, there's no gain in this. The Loiva might gain a little bit of money that he doesn't have to pay a sefer to write a new shtar, but the Malva has nothing to gain in this. The seif shtar are hidden in the kasef. The shtar has the very same date of today. So ma'yike the katarev lekucha is b'shtar shenimchol shibudei. What does he have over here? Any gain that he has a shtar that it's a big risk? We might find out that it's possible and he won't be able to collect with it at all. So therefore, leishavik in such a case, the Malva would never let this. So therefore, we're not concerned that this happened, that this is a shtar that's being used for a second loan, and therefore you give back the shtar to the Malva. A person that claims regarding a Maisa Bezdin, that he paid up this Maisa Bezdin. So what's a Maisa Bezdin? Rashi here says there's certain things where you didn't borrow money, but there's a condition from the Bezdin that you have to pay these things. The example would be a ksubah. Even if you don't write a ksubah, there's a tanai of Bezdin that every marriage you have to pay a ksubah. Also the mazan isha v'abana is the fact that you have to feed a wife and the daughters after he passes away. If the person comes along and just claims without any edim, I pay this, he's not going to be believed at all. Layama Kulum, he said nothing. He is going to have to pay. My time, what's the reason? Call Maisa Bezdin. Anytime there's a case where there's a condition of a Bezdin, command the one that's coming to collect the money, the woman that's coming to collect the ksuba, it's like she's holding a ksuba in her hands. Even without the ksuba, we trust her that the money is owed to her, and if the husband or the Yershim want to claim that it was paid, they're going to have to bring Eidim for this. Right, so really, Taisus over here says that in any case of a ksuba, you don't even need a document to collect the ksuba. Even without it, she would be believed that it wasn't paid. But the ksuba is needed if there's any taisvis ksuba. There's an additional amount of money that you write into a ksuba. For that, you need a ksuba. That's not a Maisa Bezdin.
It's not like a Metzia.
No. In this case, it's mamish like you have a star in your hands. A star is a raya. The Maisa Bezdin, it's clear, unless you have a raya, it's clear that it wasn't paid yet. This halacha that Rabbi Yechanan taught, why did you have to teach this? This is something that we could see clearly from a Mishnah, that you don't need an actual ksubah, the document of the ksubah, to collect. You can collect without it, because the Mishnah says in ksubis, "Haitzia get ve'eini ksubah." If a woman just shows a get that she was divorced, and she doesn't have the ksubah to show that she wasn't paid up her ksubah yet, goy ksubasa. She can collect the ksuba just with the get. So what's the basis of that Mishnah? The exact point that Rabbi Yechanan said, that there's a Maisa Bezdin, that since it's a T'nai of a Bezdin that you have to pay this, not unless you bring Eidim that you paid it, can you claim that you paid. So what's the Chiddush of Rabbi Yechanan if it's a clear Mishnah? Amalei, so Rabbi Yechanan answers and says, Yilav, the Daloi L'cho Chaspe, if not for the fact that I lifted up this broken piece of earthenware that's covering over this nice gem here, you wouldn't have understood this on your own. Here, the pshat in this Mishnah, if not for the fact that I told you this concept that there's a Maisa Bezdin and you're not believed to say that you paid it, you wouldn't have understood what the Mishnah is trying to say. So true, it says it in the Mishnah, but I explained this to you.
Also, there's only ksuba, there's other Maisa Bezdins.
Besides, okay, so therefore he's showing the nekudah of what the Mishnah is saying, so this applies in other cases. But Abaye actually asks on this. Abaye says, "My marginte, what is the big gem that Rabbi Yechanan is saying that he found here in this Mishnah, this concept that if there's a Maisa Bezdin, so then you're not believed to say that you paid up." He says maybe the pshat here in the Mishnah is different. Dilme b'makayim she'en kaisvin ksuba askinan. Maybe that Mishnah is specifically speaking about certain places where the minig was they didn't write a ksuba. So in those places that they don't write a ksuba, the get hainu ksuba. In those cases, the get is what's used as the ksuba itself. This is the ksuba to collect with it. In a case where you write the ksuba, if the woman doesn't have the ksuba in her hands anymore, so then that itself is a raya that the money was paid up. So if the husband says that he paid it, we'll believe him. But maybe the Mishnah was saying, only in a case where they don't write a ksuba, then the get is the raya that she wasn't paid up yet. If she still has a ksuba, she can collect it. But if not, not. So therefore, Abaye asked Rabbi Yechanan, there's no raya from that Mishnah. But then after this, the Gemara says, Hadar Amar Abaye. Then Abaye came back and said, Lav Milsi Damri. He retracted his question on Rabbi Yechanan, and he said, what I said is not true. Because the Yisrael Gedaitach, if you're going to say that b'mokim she'ein kaisen ksuba askinon, that over there where she could collect the ksuba with her get, it's because it's a place where the minig is that they don't write the ksuba. Avol b'mokim she'kaisen ksuba, but in a place where the minig is that you do write a ksuba. In a kita ksuba gavya, or if she has the ksuba in her hands, she can collect. And iloi loy gavya, and if not, she can't collect the ksuba. So then the question is almana mina edison. And almana, she's a widow, but not from full marriage, only from the edison, the first stage of marriage. Over here, you don't write a ksuba at that point. The ksuba is written by the nisuin, by the full stage of marriage. So by a edison, she gets the ksuba, but you don't write a ksuba at that point. So b'may gavya, how is she gonna collect a ksuba? So the only way she can collect a ksuba is be'edei misa, or be'edei misa's baal. That is, if she brings witnesses that her husband died, and she doesn't have to present a document. And what's the reason for this? Like Rabbi Yechanan said, because it's a T'nai Bezdin, and therefore she can collect even without an actual document. So therefore we see over here that Rabbi Yechanan is right. We must say regarding Edison that you can collect without an actual document. V'leime peraite. So shouldn't the Yershim be able to say that they already paid up this ksubeh? So therefore it must be that they can't say this because it's a T'nai Bezdin, like Rabbi Yechanan said. If you're going to say that no, she can come and collect, but if they claim that they paid up already, she won't be able to collect without an actual document, and therefore by a ksubah, by an almana from Edison, she doesn't have an actual ksubah, it's going to be a problem. So the Gemara says that can be imkei ma ha'ilu chachamim v'takanasam. What did chachamim accomplish with instituting that you have to pay a ksubah even for an almana from Edison? What do they accomplish if the Yarshim could just simply come and claim that they paid up? Everybody's always going to claim that they paid up. So therefore, he says it must be that Rabbi Yechanan is right. When it comes to a Maisa Bezdin, there's a Tnai Bezdin. In such a case, you can't claim you paid up. You have to have Eidim for the fact that you paid up. Here the Gemara is going to go into a discussion regarding the source. Where do you see that an almana from Edison gets a ksubah? The Gemara is going to bring the source for this.